So there's something that Mr. Shah Rukh Khan has that I don't, which literally pained me for over 20 years of my life. Now, most of you would not really be able to guess what I'm talking about because possibly there's a lot which I don't have. But it's this one thing called the Sword of Honor. You guys probably don't know about this, but back in St. Columbus School, every year, the student of the year for all-round excellence in the 12th standard is given this award called the Sword of Honor. And when I joined the very same school in kindergarten, I had just one dream in my life. I want the Sword of Honor because I want to be like Shah Rukh Khan. For the next 13 years of my life, I joined the debating society, the editorial board, trying to top all possible exams in all possible subjects and classes because in the 12th standard, there's the Sword of Honor. I still very distinctly remember the graduation ceremony for school where the award was granted to one of my batchmates, and I was very honestly shattered. My dream of becoming an all-rounder, and suddenly I don't get this award. Which just put in me this crazy desire to build a framework or a system in a scientific way to figure out how I could be an all-rounder in my life. With that rage in my veins, I decided that, okay, now school is over, I'm going to join the CA course, the CMA course, the CS course. I also signed up for an undergrad course in finance in one of the finest institutes in India. And not just that, because an all-rounder does not just study. I became a part of the dance society and then the street theater society. With so much on my plate, I was literally at one point gasping for breath. But not that all that effort went in vain. At one point, I was blessed enough that some of the best national dailies, such as the Business Standard and the Financial Express, wrote about me being the youngest Indian in the country to have completed 4 degrees by the age of 23. So, I was that typical report card child that your parents would compare you to and all of you would hate. Hate from the bottom of your hearts, and I was that guy. While there were so many people possibly envious of my success, if I were to be honest with you, I was miserable. I was internally miserable because I was chasing this one dream of being an all-rounder, thinking that's what the world wants every child to be. And having studied 4 degrees, I still had no idea about what I really wanted to do with my career or what would really give me career fulfillment. Suddenly, my dream in life just changed from being an all-rounder to figuring out what is it that I really want. And that journey changed to figuring out, okay, what is the exact system which will take me towards my personal success and happiness, and not someone else's metric of success. In my search, I clearly remember the light bulb kind of went on in this one train journey I was taking with a friend. And this friend that very year won all national level quiz competitions. That year, he was the best quizzer of the country. And I was amazed at how someone could know so much about everything under the sun. So I asked him, how is it that you know so much about everything? And he said, you know what? The past 8 years of my life, earlier it was during school, then college, and now even when I'm at work, every day I go back home and I study Wikipedia for over 2 hours. I just couldn't understand what studying Wikipedia means really. I just used it to probably copy paste some stuff for my projects back in school, to be honest. But I was like, how do you study Wikipedia? And he said, for example, today I'll go back home and I'll open Wikipedia and type Nike. I'm studying about the company when I realize Phil Knight is the founder. I click on Phil Knight, I'm reading about him, and then I realize he grew up in the state of Oregon. So I'm reading about Oregon when I figure that, it's also the state where Osho Rajneesh built his empire in the world from. And I'm like, wow, he's done this every single day for the past 8 years. And you know, people will tell you that if you're curious in life, it's the secret to success. Clearly, this guy was curious, but you could be a curious person, as am I. But curiosity by itself does absolutely nothing. It's taking action on that curiosity which makes all the difference. So, if there's the first piece to the puzzle, that's actioned curiosity. You know, then I thought, let me try and apply this to some part of my life. Most of you would have this one thing that you absolutely hate doing. You don't enjoy it, but you know it's definitely good for your life and probably for long term benefit. For a lot of us in the room, it could be something as simple as exercising. We hate doing cardio, it's difficult to lift weights, but we know it's actually important for us. Back that year, that one thing for me was writing. I used to absolutely loathe writing, not enjoy the process one bit. But I knew hearts in heart that over a period of time, it's a skill that I probably need to develop. So I made a promise to myself that, okay, every single day, I'm going to act on this, write something daily, and do that for years to the extent that every month I will publish 2 written essays on a blog, which is going to be available for people to see. That was my system. I made that promise to myself. And happy to say, I did not break it for years. 6 years later, in 2015, I was given the award for the best humor blog of the country, which was absolutely unexpected, astounding. I used to suck at writing. I am not kidding. But I realized that when you take action on your curiosity, little by little, every single day, your mind gets tuned to figuring out, okay, how can I be a better writer? Can I read better writers and try to emulate what they're doing in my writing, in my daily activity? And I figured I was trying to find the second part of the puzzle. You know, but that really wasn't enough. There was still something possibly missing. So I was reading this one article which said that most people believe practice makes perfect, but that's actually not true. And I'm not saying it, a research from Harvard says it. Practice does not make perfect. It's deliberate practice that makes perfect. What's the difference? Deliberate practice is when an expert knows and can quantify his body of knowledge and then take a deliberate effort every single day to find areas in his field that he does not know, learn them and applies them to grow his body of knowledge. That's what leads to perfection. So I was like, okay, I have no idea what my body of knowledge is like. Let's try and measure it. I remember opting out of placements from ISB because I thought, yes, I want to set up a business advisory and an investment banking firm all by myself. It was a tough decision to make that year, and I remember soon after graduation, I was sitting alone in an empty room, which was apparently my office, trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do from here? I thought as a first step, let's try and document and collate and measure what is my body of knowledge. My experience as a chartered accountant had probably given me the benefit to call myself a taxation expert. So I thought, okay, every single day, I'm going to put out one insight that I have as a tax and personal finance expert out for people to use in their lives. And I started making short videos on taxation, personal finance, published them on platforms such as Instagram, LinkedIn. But 3 months down, I realized I had no more topics left. I literally had nothing more to talk about. And it seemed like, as an expert, all my 10 years of work in the industry could actually be distilled down into just 90 insights. And if any of you in the room call yourself an expert or anyone outside, I would urge you to go give them this challenge that your decades of experience, try to distill it down into actual insights. And most experts will struggle to go beyond 100. If that's the case, for any expert, it's saddening as well as unfortunate that the barrier to entry for your profession or your expertise is so low that anyone can just learn those 100 insights and totally disrupt you and dislocate you as an expert. That day I was frantic. I had no topic to talk about the following day in my video. So in my angst, I just started opening up corporate finance books, searching for what is that one insight I don't know, which I'm going to be talking about tomorrow. I found something after probably a couple of hours of study, and I spoke about it the following day. And then I had to study the next day again for the next insight, and the day after, and the day after. Now, almost 2 years down, with over 500 videos published across social media channels, and all of that information now compiled into a book called Daily Coffee and Startup Fundraising, I realized that measuring your knowledge and growing it also helps you get discovered by people who want value to be added in their lives. I could have never imagined, but the most well-known startups from the country and abroad started reaching out to me saying, we want you to help us grow our business. We want you to be our virtual CFO. Tell us how we can turn profitable. And I was fortunate and blessed to be working with them to do it. My life's focus was being an all-rounder, which moved to figuring out what do I really want to do with my life. And if I were to distill that for you in a framework or a formula, I'll tell you this. Most people say, I want to pursue my passion. And if you ask them what they're passionate about photography, they're passionate about traveling, they're passionate about being a foodie. And ask anyone in this room, I bet a majority will say that they love traveling. So if your passion is something that most people enjoy, you need to ask yourself that are you taking the lazy route to define what your passion is and going after it, figuring out that you'll probably be happy doing this? That's not how passions are born and developed, and that's not how you will find fulfillment in your career. Passions are found doing hard things every single day till the point you start figuring it out. You start getting slightly better at it. And that getting better at it actually motivates you to do more of it. You start enjoying it. You become an expert at it. And it's an ongoing process that you have to do every single day. And it's only when you go through this process will you really find fulfillment in your lives. I found that with what I do in my career today. And that framework or formula is 3 things. The first is not curiosity, but actioned curiosity. The second is building a habit of working on it daily. Not a monthly frequency, not a weekly frequency, but every single day. And the third is deliberate practice. I'm also happy to share that in 2017, ISB offered me the All-Round Excellence Award for the PGP class of 2017. And that's one thing that I have and Mr. Shah Rukh Khan does not. Thank you.